who's on this field? Who are we looking at right now? Who's announced, and who are the front runners?
Well, of course, the biggest name so far is Senator Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts. She proudly stamps herself as progressive, but she's probably more centrist on economic policy than other candidates, with a Put American Workers First headline. Then there's also Kamala Harris, senator from California, and previously Attorney General of that state, who has been a long speculated presidential candidate almost since winning her Senate seat in 2017. And she is kind of the personification of the face of the new Democratic Party. Then we also have the bright-eyed Cory Booker, senator from New Jersey and former mayor of Newark. And he's well-liked within his state and stands out as a candidate so far. And finally, Kirsten Gillibrand, our very own senator from New York State, who has shifted probably from centrist to progressive over the years, and a staple issue of her political career has been her commitment to improving conditions for women in the military, specifically cracking down on sexual assault.
One of the biggest things is that while there are 9 Democrats that have announced, people are kind of in a wait-and-see mode because there are a few names that we've heard before: former Vice President Joe Biden, former Democratic candidate Bernie Sanders, and upstart Beto O'Rourke from Texas. So there's a few names that are currently in the waiting process, and a lot of people think that they're going to also enter the race. So it's going to be a very crowded field.
Those people in the waiting process, they do have some time. Election day is 638 days away. Right. But what are these candidates doing to garner support right now?
Well, Donald Trump kind of changed everything in 2016 with how the primary process typically works. But the primaries, while there are votes, they're typically won in back doors. There's a book called The Invisible Primary, and it did a study on how primaries are typically won. And they're not won necessarily on the ballots. They're actually won beforehand, gathering primary support from elected officials, big party leaders. Typically, primaries aren't 16-way fields. They're typically 3 or 4 candidates who are trying to position themselves in certain ways on the political spectrum. So right now, Harris and Booker and Sanders and Warren, they're all trying to get their name recognition up. They want Iowans and New Hampshire people, they want them to know who they are so that when the elections do come around and when other elected officials come around to endorse people, that they're the ones that are lining up those endorsements.
All right, guys. We have 30 seconds, so I want to get one key issue from you, one key issue from you. What are we looking at in this next primary?
I think criminal justice reform is a big one. There's been a lot of Democrats, including Kirsten Gillibrand, who has positioned herself as very strong on that. Cory Booker has positioned himself very strongly on that issue. And Kamala Harris, of course, with her past record in trying people, has a significant advantage on that.
And that's all the time we have.
All right. Thank you guys so much.